看妈妈，看妈妈，看妈妈。
Hi everyone, I'm Gui. I live alone in an urban village in a big Chinese city. A lot of people have asked me in my past videos why I call myself a new vlogger when my filming style and storytelling feel nothing like a beginner's work. The answer is pretty simple. I've always stayed quietly behind the camera, capturing all the lovely little moments and gentle themes around me for almost 7 years. I started out with writing, then slowly moved on to making videos about my own life. I also get asked another question a lot: why I don't like smiling, and whether I'm truly happy deep down. This question really made me stop and think. The purest, happiest moment I can remember was earlier this year, when I went to the zoo for the very first time. Seeing innocent kids playing with lovely animals truly warmed my heart. These two questions helped me figure out something really important about myself. I've always been seen as a weirdo by others, someone who never quite fits in with the world around me. In China, we have a special term called 人情世故. It's all about that unspoken social wisdom, those hidden rules of society. I'm not sure if this English explanation is accurate, because this Chinese phrase actually carries a lot of negative meanings. It's about reading between the lines, saving people's face, and saying the right things at the right time. It's about flattering those in power, looking down on people beneath you, and putting on a different face for everyone you meet, so subtly that nobody notices you're faking it. Some people are just born good at this kind of social stuff. But I'm 36, and I've never gotten the hang of it. My first job after college barely lasted a month. I could tell during the interview that they actually had another candidate they preferred, but she turned down their offer. So they ended up hiring me as a second choice. From day one, I was determined to do my best and prove I was capable. And I really was. I did all my work perfectly, but things were never that simple. I got fired just 1 month later. There was a local saying, kids from humble backgrounds mature later in life. It's not that they're less intelligent. It's just that parents struggling to get by don't have the extra time or energy to teach their kids emotional awareness and social skills. A lot of them don't understand these worldly rules themselves, so they have nothing to pass on to their children. I know this feeling all too well. Growing up, my parents gave me food and a roof over my head. But that's it. They never taught me how to read a room, resolve conflicts, or get along with other people. I still remember one thing that happened when I was little. A boy hit me in primary school. I ran home crying, hoping for some comfort and advice. But my mom just told me, hit him back. I was totally shocked. Everything I'd learned from school and books told me violence was wrong. No matter who started it, fighting back was never right. There was no in-between. I already disagreed with many of my mom's values and ways of handling things, so I refused to follow her advice. Instead, I only trusted what I learned from textbooks and at school. Those books always told you to be selfless, be kind, and play by the rules. And most importantly, everyone is equal. That overly idealistic way of thinking kept me totally sheltered. I had no idea how messy and complicated real human relationships could be. I was basically living inside a fragile little bubble. Once I stepped out into the real world, that bubble just burst completely. I had no clue how to handle real life at all. About that 1 month job, when I was told I was laid off, I asked my direct supervisor one question: why me? He asked me in return, why were you frowning all the time during the meeting when the boss was speaking? I tried to explain, but he cut me off. Everyone else was laughing, only you didn't. So the boss noticed you and thought you had complaints. or dissatisfaction with the company. I felt so wronged and hurried to explain. I was new, so I needed to listen carefully to everyone and think everything through. I didn't smile and frowned unconsciously. I was just nervous as a newcomer and didn't know how to react. Then he gave me another reason. Did you bump into the boss in the hallway one day? I was totally confused because I couldn't remember it at all. He said, "That time, you didn't make way for him." On my way home, I finally recorded. It was my first week at work. The hallway was very narrow. I was in a rush to deliver a document, so I had to walk past a man shoulder to shoulder. I had no idea he was the boss back then. Because of these two small mistakes, that busy and high-ranking boss held a grudge against an ordinary new employee like me and cost me my job. I used to think being good at your work was enough. That dismissal completely shattered my beliefs and hit me really hard. I've always wished the world could be like an open book. Simple and straightforward. But obviously, my thoughts were far too naive and innocent. A few years later, I got another job in Shenzhen that I really wanted to keep. During the interview, I managed to put on a brave, outgoing mask, and most importantly, I kept a bright smile on my face all the time. I can fake it for an hour if I have to. But deep down, I'm super introverted and always feel a little unconfident. Eventually, the mask fell off. My boss saw the real me. I won't drink the wine others force on me. I never take the initiative to toast others. And I refuse to flatter those vain, high-ranking government officials with polite, empty words. And I don't laugh at forced jokes. I'll never forget the disappointment in her eyes. Slowly, my work was given to other people until I finally left the company.
This is Taguan. Please mind your step when exiting.
Over the past few years, I've finally made peace with who I am. I chose to focus on skill-based, technical work, jobs that value real ability over social skills. And surprisingly, I've become so much more relaxed. These days, I wear simple, cheap clothes and don't care what other people think. Still, I have to admit, while this lifestyle set me free, it also came with a downside. I gradually shut myself off in my own little world, slowly losing some basic social skills. And even the desire to connect with people. Now I'm 36, an age that's not considered young or desirable in the local marriage market. I still don't have a boyfriend, not even a single close friend. I enjoy the freedom of being my true self, yet I've also trapped myself in an invisible cage. I'll talk more about my experiences and thoughts on this in a future video. I've noticed that as I get older, I tend to ramble a bit more. Thanks for listening.